What is going on, guys? This is Quackermaster, happy to be back with another video. Alright, so let's recap with the previous video. We made a whole new theme park and a whole new roller coaster POV video for you guys. So that means today I am going to make a tour video for my new park, Adventure World. Alright, let's get straight into it after the intro. Alright guys, here we are at the entrance, and without further ado, let's just get started with the tour. Alright, so as you walk in, you're greeted with this nice plaza with a fountain and these colorful buildings around it. And then behind it are direction signs that take you to each area. So each area is like a country of the world. That's what this park is themed to. That's why it's called Adventure World. So yeah. Alright, we are going to go left first. And the first area that you'll see is Europa Village, which is Europe. Here's a nice statue. And then here we have our first ride, which is the park's carousel. And then there's more this way, which is like an open plaza in the Europe section. This is a teacup ride. And then this is a scrambler ride. And then these are food places you can get. And then this is a spiral slide. Alright, so that's basically it for the Europe section. And now we're going this way. And the next area you will see is the Congo section. Further this way is the Ferris wheel. And then here is another entrance to the Congo section. This is like a tunnel. And then there's also a tunnel that goes to the other path that we'll see later. But for now, we're gonna see what's at the Congo. Alright, so first up, when you go through that entrance on the left is the Congo Drop Tower. And then here, we have our first sit-down restaurant called the Oasis Diner. And also, it has the entrance to our first roller coaster, Black Mamba. And you can also see images of snakes in the queue line. So I think that's pretty cool, entering through a restaurant. Alright, let's go further this way. This is an indoor ride called Power Surge. This is like a tumble train ride called the Tumbler. This is a stall that sells Pepsi products. This is the exit to Black Mamba. And then here's a little swing ride. This is a top spin ride. And then this is a cool restroom area where you actually go inside like a big rock, but there's restrooms. And then finally is that disc ride called Zoomerang. And now we are going into Castaway Island. This is like tropical themed rides. The certain part of Castaway Island is called Pirate Harbor, which is themed to like pirates. Like there's pirate hats. And then there's a ship, a pirate ship ride called the Voyager. And then there's Seaside Slushy and another sit-down restaurant called the Pirate's Bite Eatery. There's an outdoor dining area as well. And this is the sign to Pirate Harbor. If you're entering from the main part of Castaway Island, this is the main part. And then this is the Hidden Temple water coaster, which I did not get to add in the POV video, but here it is. And then this way is an entrance to a splash ride called Catapult, and at the end is just bathrooms. And then coming to the left is a swan boat ride that takes you around the lake. That's Catapult, the splash ride. And then finally we have a log flume called Cliffhanger Falls. Right. This is the main entrance to Castaway Island if you're entering without going through other areas. And then this is the tunnel I showed you earlier. The other side is the Congo entrances and the Ferris wheel. And now we go this way into the kids area called Evan's Jungle of Fun. I just decided to use a random name. This is an ice cream place. And then this is Caterpillar Run, which is one of the 3 kiddie coasters at the park. In the area. And then this is Evan's Mysterious Mansion, which is a walk-through indoor mansion. I also showed you this in my POV video. And then this is a pretty nice part of it. We have another fountain. That over there is a carousel for kids. This is a plane ride. And then there's a mini Ferris wheel. And then this is Mini Serpent, which is a mini replica of a ride that I'm going to show you later. So, these 2 coasters, the other one being over there, is like mini replicas of bigger rides. So there's a hot air balloon ride, and this is Junior Beast, which is the 3rd kiddie coaster. And then there's bathrooms and a tunnel that leads to Arctic Getaway. But I'm gonna take the monorail to Arctic Getaway later in this video. So that you guys could see the rest of the park before you see Arctic Getaway. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the left side of the park. And now I'm going to pause it real quick and go back to the front plaza and then go to the right side. Alright, I'll see you guys. Alright, we are back in the area with the direction signs, and now we are going to go right, and then immediately to the right is Asia. Alright, this is a burger place. This is a flying carpet ride. This is a spin and barf ride called Samurai Spinner. And then to the right is Dragon Quest, which is a family launch coaster, where what's pretty cool is that in the middle of the coaster, there is an elevator that takes you up automatically, and then you drop. So I think that's pretty cool. And then this is another one of those hedge mazes I built. It's called the Bamboozler Maze, which is kind of a joke. And then, of course, there are restrooms, like there are in almost every area. And that's pretty much it for Asia, so it's a pretty small area. I think 2 of the areas on the right are pretty small. The second one is the American Wilderness, which is the next area. There's a pizza place, and then there's a little flat ride, and then this is a tunnel. And we're actually under the station for American Beast, which is a wooden roller coaster, and it's probably one of the best roller coasters in the park. Here it is. And then there's bathrooms, of course. And then this is a car ride called North America Turnpike. And that's it for the wilderness. Probably the smallest area. And now we're going on a scenery walk. This is towards our next area, but it's also where we get to enjoy the scenery. And now we are in Africa. This is probably the largest area in the park, because it goes from like front to back. And then there's a specific village in this area. It's called Ajabu Village. And then there's a small fountain. You could get some food. And then this is Ajabu Speedway, which is a go-kart track. You can see the station right there. And I think you can drive the karts manually, so I think that's cool. Alright, and that's it for Ajabu Village. And now we go to the rest of the Africa section. This is an Enterprise. And then this is Desert Demon, which is a top hat coaster. You can see the top hat. And this way is the rest of the stuff in Africa. Bathrooms, of course. And then this is a bumper car ride called Stampede. This is Pyroforce, which is a G-Force ride. And then this is Serpent's Curse, which is the big version of Mini Serpent. And Serpent's Curse is a big wild mouse. And now, right here is a picnic shelter called the Watering Hole. And also, these are the bleachers for watching the launch of Desert Demon. This is VIP seating. And then this is a higher view of the launch. Yeah, and I think that's it for this stuff. And then this is the monorail for Arctic Getaway. And I was planning on taking the monorail to Arctic Getaway, just so you guys can enjoy the experience of going to Arctic Getaway. So I am going to do that. Alright, and I'll see you when I arrive at Arctic Getaway. Alright, I just got dropped off from the monorail here at Arctic Getaway, and let's take a look at this final area I will be showing you today. Alright, so here's a little penguin flag when we walk in, and then this is Arctic Caverns, which is an indoor river rapids ride, and you spin really fast in that ride, so it might be a bit dizzy. And then here we go through this bridge and the rest of Arctic Getaway. This is the tunnel that goes from the kids area to Arctic Getaway. And then that's that same tunnel. And then here's a direction sign if you enter through the tunnel. And then this is Polar Peak, which is a Space Rings ride. And then there's Santa Hats, hot chocolate, and then bathrooms, of course. And then the final ride you'll see is the Arctic Sky Tower, which you go up high and then you can see the whole park from here. Alright, that's pretty much it for Arctic Getaway, and I think that's my whole park. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of the tour of Adventure World, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.